since I was a kid, I've loved baseball, and I always known that I wanted to be involved in professional baseball in some capacity. So that was always my life's goal. It's kind of how I've modeled everything I've done, is to get into that space. And so since I've been a kid, it's all I've ever wanted to do. Well, I knew pretty early on that I wasn't cut out to be a big league player. I was always like the smallest kid on my little league teams, and I think very early on I was like, all right, well, I'm playing this because I like it, not because I have a future in it. So for that part, it was kind of just always there. Like, yeah, I know I'm not going pro, but I just loved the game, so I played it because I loved it. It wasn't for anything other than my own self-enjoyment, and I knew at some point it would end. I didn't know how it would end, but I knew it was not going to end on a major league field. Since I knew I was going to play, I figured I'd find another way. But I do think that over time, I've tried dabbling in little, areas and stuff like that to see what might be interesting and stuff like that. With school, I kind of chose a very basic major with the idea of I could apply this to different aspects in a sports organization. So it never really discouraged me or anything like that. It was very much just you know what, I'm going to figure it out. And that's just kind of how I went about it. Funny story, really. I'm walking around campus. I went to Stockton, so I'm walking around campus heading back to my car after a class, and a friend of mine, Pat, he reached out to me. He's like, hey, so I have a friend who writes for Philly Sports Network, and he was looking to add somebody to the team, and he reached out for Pat was like, that's not for me, but he's like, this could be for my boy Matt. So he called me and asked if I was interested, and I was like, yeah, sure, why not? Like, I never thought I would be doing something like that, but I'm like, it gave me a chance to write about the Phillies. It was something I was passionate in, and watched enough of it to understand and have an opinion on things. So I was like, sure, yeah, okay. And that kind of spiraled into where I'm at now. The first few times I went in with the idea of I need to prove myself to the Phillies organization so they'll invite me back to this stuff. And kind of when I first got there, it was more like, thank you so much for being here. So it was weird because I'm going in thinking, I have to prove myself to make them want me to come back, when the first interaction I have with them is thank you so much for being here, and like they were really receptive, and it was like, wow, like here I am thinking I have to impress you, meanwhile you're grateful that I'm here. So for me, yeah, it's a passion. It doesn't matter how much money I'm getting paid, it doesn't matter how many people read it, it doesn't matter who ends up seeing it, it doesn't even matter if it's right. If I wrote it and I'm proud of it, then that's how it is.